For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
Do you think Zimbabwe elections have brought legitimacy to the country?
You know, it's very interesting. When Mugabe was removed, the language that Mnangagwa used was one which was trying to redefine the way that Zimbabwe related to its people, related to the world, and he was making considerable efforts without repudiating Mugabe completely to say this is different. And in the run-up to the elections, except the last day or two, there was quite a lot more freedom than there has been for opposition parties to campaign, so that people thought this might be different. However, there's a lot of dispute over the election results, and it didn't help for the army to go in when people were protesting the results and 6 people being killed. What makes it suspicious is, first of all, the big parliamentary majority that ZANU-PF gets, and then when the difference in votes between Mnangagwa and Chamisa is 50 and 44, that 50% has to be, 100% pure. Otherwise, there would have had to be a runoff. Because if he had got 49, there would have had to be a second round. And there are various allegations. They are not the sort of thing that I want to go into in a video interview, but they relate to the way in which the results were, conflicts between the what appeared to be the results and what the results were. So I think what goodwill they have has been undermined, first of all, by doubts about the results, but secondly, that the army came in. Thirdly, that there is a court case now, and they are harassing or making it difficult for the lawyers for Chamisa, who is challenging the results. The lawyers are from South Africa, for the lawyers to come in. So that's all those things together have made it difficult. I think Britain and a number of other states were eager to do business with the new leadership, and people have cooled quite a lot. And the region is not hostile, but I think the investment that they need is going to come from outside, and I'm not sure that it's going to come.
And what do you think South Africa's attitude should be towards Emmerson Mnangagwa's government?
See, South Africa is in a very difficult position in the sense that it's difficult for South Africa to operate on its own in the region. And I think when Thabo Mbeki practiced quiet diplomacy with Mugabe, people criticized it, saying that we've got a human rights-based constitution and our foreign policy should embrace this, and that was what the ANC and the government initially intended. But it's very difficult when you go on your own, because in 1994 and 1995, the Commonwealth took a decision that Nigeria under Abacha should be isolated. South Africa under Mandela took a decision to isolate them, but no one joined South Africa. And that was taken as a lesson that you cannot practice bilateral diplomacy in a multilateral world, in a world of many powers. And it holds much more so in the case of the region. On the other hand, if there's instability in Zimbabwe, more and more people are coming over the border as migrants, putting a strain on social services, but also feeding into xenophobia, so that it's in South Africa's interest that there be stability in Zimbabwe. So South Africa has to do whatever it can, not just to make profits out of Zimbabwe, but to assist to rebuild work opportunities and industry in Zimbabwe.
And I've had discussions with some Zimbabweans who are in South Africa, and some are blaming the MDC alliance for its faction within its own party, that they were unable to win the elections.
If you want to have an alliance of a number of strands of the MDC, because there were already more than one, but secondly, if you bring in others, the unity that you have is not the same as thinking identically. Consequently, it's in the nature of things that you have these problems. But so I don't think they had an option. They had to join with these others, but the price of joining with these others is that they pull in different ways. But I think they were generally fairly united.
And what can we expect in Zimbabwe moving forward?
Well, you know, the tolerance of the opposition space has contracted. They are charging people, arresting people, committing violence against them. But I think the new leadership will want to get stability, and Mnangagwa is much more flexible than Mugabe, although his history is very controversial. But in the present, I think he may well be prepared to make some concessions, and that's the sort of thing that I think Ramaphosa is likely to advise him to do, to try and make peace with the opposition.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Crima Media's Polity about the disputed elections in Zimbabwe.